Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Well, yesterday was a painful day for many of us. It was tax day. It was the day where you really began to beg the question, do we really live in a free country? And that got us an opportunity to start thinking about the good folks over at the Internal Revenue Service. And then it got us thinking about the fact that, why are they armed like a small army? And then apparently that got some legislators thinking about it as well. And so we are seeing a piece of legislation now being circulated in DC that would, in fact, disarm the IRS. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about why does the IRS need so many? Okay, America, yesterday was tax day. Like I say, it's a painful day for many of us because we realize that we don't live in a completely free country. We live in a country that might be slightly more freer than others. But it got us going down the road, and it got some legislators going down the road about, the IRS in general. Now, as we know, during the previous presidential administration, there was a feverish push to not only increase the size of the IRS, but also to increase how well they would have been armed. And that begged the question, what do you need so many armed IRS agents for? Now, this is not the first run at it. This is a new piece of legislation that's an old piece of legislation. But Senator Joni Ernst out of Iowa, and I know that some of you are rolling your eyes, and I get it, you're lukewarm on her, as well as Representative Barry Moore out of Alabama. Well, they are now circulating a piece of legislation which, if enacted into law, would actually disarm the IRS and create a small revenue opportunity to offset our federal deficit. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this has already been tried once before. It was called S-1949, also sponsored by Senator Ernst. What this does is it directs or limits what the funds that are allocated for the IRS functions can be used for. Specifically, the bill reads, notwithstanding any provision of law, none of the funds authorized to be appropriated or otherwise made available for any fiscal year may be obligated or expended by the commissioner to purchase, receive, or store any firearm or ammunition. Okay, so basically it says that any of the funds allocated for the Internal Revenue Service to operate cannot be used in any way, shape, or form to purchase arms or ammunition. But as you know, the IRS apparently has a whole bunch of firearms. What did it become of that? Well, this bill, if enacted into law, would go into effect 120 days from the date of signature. And at that time, all of the firearms would have to be surrendered by the IRS, not later than the date, which is 120 days after the date of enactment of this act. The commissioner shall transfer to the administrator of general services, 1, any firearms owned or under the control of the Internal Revenue Service, and 2, any ammunition owned by or under the control of the Internal Revenue Service. Wow, and then what does the administrator of general services get to do with it? Well, within 30 days, he gets to then have a big, huge gun sale, because the bill actually then reads, no later than the date which is 30 days after the date which the transfer described in Section 4 has been completed, the Administrator of General Services shall, 1, initiate the sale or auction of any firearms described in paragraph 1 of such section to licensed dealers as defined in Section 921A11 of Title 18, and 2, initiate the auction of any ammunition described in paragraph 2 of Section 4 to members of the general public. So all the firearms can go back into public auction to FFLs. All the ammunition, well, we could all, I guess, enjoy in that auction. The funds then are to be used to offset the federal deficit. The bill specifically reads, any proceeds from the sale or auction of property described in Section A shall be deposited in the general fund of the Treasury for the sole purpose of deficit reduction. Okay, all of that we'll get to in a moment. It sounds pretty good, but we'll question some of it in a second. But here's the thing. If you're going to disarm IRS agents, how are they going to be able to do criminal investigations? Well, that might be the most important thing that this bill does, because this bill essentially removes criminal investigations from the IRS and places it within a division of the Department of Justice. The bill specifically reads, notwithstanding any other provision of law, there are transferred to the Department of Justice the authorities, functions, personnel, and assets of the Criminal Investigation Division of the Internal Revenue Service, which shall be maintained as the distinct entity within the Criminal Division of the Department of Justice, including the related functions of the Secretary of the Treasury. Okay, so does this bill disarm the IRS? It most definitely does. But more importantly, it literally removes from the IRS the ability for them to do criminal investigations, although it would place it under the purview of the Department of Justice and therefore the Attorney General. And so we do have to ask ourselves, just pause and caution for a moment here, is that how will it feel if the shoe was on the other foot? That is, what happens if we end up with an Attorney General we don't trust in a hyper-politicized environment? Okay, the bill does not yet have a number, but we will link up the stories we relied upon in making this video. If you got any questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. If you don't, that's okay. That information, it's down there in the description box. If you got an idea for a video we should be doing around here, cool. Just click on that link right there and tell us all about it. If you want to subscribe to the monthly newsletter, the ability to do all of that is down there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, let's everyone remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe. So today we want to check out and see how secure StopBox really is. So we're heading over to one of the book clubs to have it tested by one of the most dangerous creatures known to man. That's right. I'm talking about the drunk suburban housewife.
You guys, your name's coming. It's Mom.
Oh, hey, ladies.
Oh, hey!
How's book club going?
Oh yeah, I have a shit ton of stuff.
You look like a Lolita.
No.
Lolita.
What is wrong with me?
Call me Steve, Jake. Ew. You look like a Hannah
Taylor. No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
With those lips,
You're
100%
Lolita. Spicy.
Yeah.
Cumin. Sorry.
Okay, ladies, got a little challenge for you here.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so listen, here's what I got. I got a $200 spa package to Willow's Lodge.
Ooh la la.
I got 2 days, 2 nights at Suncadia, $100 at Target,
Nice.
and $100 at Wine and More, because I know you could need that. So, any of you get into the box, it's yours. Have fun.
Okay, who wants to go first?
I can get in
Okay,
the box.
Beth. Get it, girl. Get it, girl. Come on. Get that spa package.
Oh. Yeah. Come on. Ooh. Get it. Come on.
You gotta push all the buttons. You do the same thing over.
Come on.
You have to figure this out. I just give up. I'm pouring more wine.
Give up?
Yeah. I give up.
All right, well,
You didn't pour me any.
close, but looks like they're all mine. Thank you, ladies.
What?
StopBox. Protect your family while protecting your family.